G'day and welcome to the 70th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast, which is quite a large number. I'm led to believe. So we're doing well. We're keeping there. We're getting there. We come to you with great tidings and great amounts of data that have gone into a survey this week. So we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Matt's going to sound off on that, but we've also seen the roadmap this week, so that's probably going to be a bit of what we talk about. But dudes, before we jump into that, how the fuck are you going?
G'day. Welcome.
G'day.
What's up? Yeah, good, thank you. Same old, man. The number one thing on my list is prepping for the summit. We're almost there.
Prepping.
Almost there.
Almost there. It's come around quick. I mean, it was never a long time away to begin with, but it has come around quick.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely share some stuff on what's been going on with that and rumors floating through Twitter and maybe clarify a couple of things on what's happening. So
yeah, it might be wise to do a bit of a clarification and dispelling a bullshit session at some point during this episode.
Yeah, so we can go over that, and then finally talk a bit about the survey, and I won't see you until a couple of weeks' time.
It's okay.
And I'll report back.
We need some space.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's got. You're in Rotterdam, aren't you?
No,
that's right.
I'll be away for a week, so it'll be 2 weeks time from on the podcast next,
Rotterdam.
and then I've got a couple of weeks, and then I'm away in Rotterdam. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as anyone listening right now can tell, we're organised a long way in advance. We're a very professional outfit and a tightly run ship. Slothy, how are you doing this week? What's going on? I want to talk to you. I want to tell everyone that Sloth's been playing a bit of Destiny. He's been back into it, and
Really?
He's played Destiny on Thursday night. Played Destiny on Friday night. Played Destiny last night.
And just genuinely enjoying it.
To a degree. I mean, the PvP, we'll get into it a little bit later, but the PvP still seems like arse to me. But it's what they've done PvE wise is a good step in the right direction. Bless you. So we've been playing some Destiny, playing some Sea of Thieves, and all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, it's been good. Just
so
sort of.
What have you been doing if you don't like Crucible? Have you been playing Crucible or something else?
No, when fucking don't fuck arachnids.
Oh, the Nightfall.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've been doing.
We did. I think I did like 4 or 5 on Friday night. On PlayStation with some of my community and all that sort of thing, and did another 6 or 7 last night with Log and Keg and all that sort of thing. It was
like Prestige Nightfall. Was that what you?
No, I mean I did a bit of research on it, and basically that doesn't up your chances of getting it at all. So once you've done Prestige, there's no point doing it again.
What's the point of Prestige then? I'm so out of
poster score, just a poster score. Like yeah. I
thought it modified your rewards or something.
I was talking to one of Log's community there the other night, and he said something along the lines of you only ever want to do the Prestige if you want to place a poster score per se. So I mean that's it's not necessarily a bad thing of it. It's just like if you're going to do Prestige, I believe if you're going to go through the fucking pain and gain of fucking going through Prestige, I reckon you should get an extra chance at getting the DFA. However, RNG is RNG, and that means you can grind for it. So I'm more than happy to have good grind, because that's not a bad strike either.
Yeah,
it's not the best strike going, but it's about
good. Like when we played together, like I was like, you know what, this is pretty enjoyable. It's not shit. It's not great, but I mean, it sort of feels like the Destiny grind,
If any of us were going to come out of that with a bad experience, it was going to be you, because you were low light compared to what we were doing. Even that kind of, it didn't matter that much, and we managed to get through it, and maybe it was just a strong carry on Sloth's part. We all know how vocal he is about how much he carries everyone, so we that may have been the case. But having said that, it's not a bad strike. Touching on that, we tried it, I think, on all the different flavors with all the different burns, just to sort of see what it was all about. And there's ways that you can kind of freshen it up, even though it's the same thing every time. We kind of forgot that old mate at the end has a big arca gun, and that kind of made it nasty on that particular iteration. But beyond that, it's you get to play through all the subclasses and give yourself a bit of variety there. So I kind of like that system. I like having the option. I like having the putting the forethought into it before you get in there, and sort of having a bit of a team discussion about what you're going to do and all that. I think it does add to it. But,
it's good.
They're not classic
they...
Nightfalls like what we used to. I don't think we're ever going to get them
No.
again.
However, I mean, if you do the challenge card thing, if everyone did, I think it was either it was on Prestige. If you did the Prestige thing, so you got returned to orbit, and that happened a few times, at least to me. I know it happened to you and Sassy and all that sort of thing too, Matt. Like you got returned to orbit and all that sort of shit, which was that's a good step in the right direction for Bungie to go back to that sort of thing, because they're supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to work as a team. Someone else goes running off into the out in the fucking Narnia somewhere, then it's going to be pretty difficult to all keep together and all that sort of thing. So it's not too bad. I actually don't mind it at all.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I mean, I'm just really digging a little bit more for what you actually get by adding scores, because I think that really will just complement everything. Is it just emblems? I'm sure. I remember when it first came out, there was some, but I just didn't play it, so I never really took note of what it was actually giving.
It is just an emblem per character at the moment. That's how I see it. If you do a prestige and you've got the burns on and all that sort of thing, it's just the emblem and the nightfall counter on the prestige nightfall counter on that emblem. So I mean, it is what it is. But regardless, it was good to just sort of sit down and have a chat. Like log streamed on Thursday night, and Matt and I were there, and we had a good chat with people talking about a grand return to Destiny, I guess you could say, and all that sort of thing. Because each of us have not been playing. You guys know this. If you frequent the podcast or any of our communities, you guys know that we don't play. We don't play Destiny on a weekly basis. Now that is in the midst of changing, but it's kind of a good step in the right direction when you can get people who have been playing since pre-alpha to come back and go, oh yeah, this isn't too bad. So well done on Bungie in that respect.
Yeah. So definitely looks like
it was
emblems from 40, 50, 60k different emblems possibility, but still RNG on that front as well. So I mean, that's pretty disappointing.
It gives people something to grind. I've watched Syntax 7 use the DFA during his Curse of Osiris DLC run through on PC, and that thing looks fucking incredible. Holy shit.
Oh, dude.
So it's
I wouldn't be grinding as hard as I am for it if it was. I want it. I need it. It looks savage. It's probably the best
thing you need,
man. Ever get.
That's always a plus. But yeah, it's been an overall good week for Bungie in regards to the whole summit thing, which we'll get into a little bit later in the cast and all that sort of stuff. So it is a. I don't want to say it's promising. I don't want to say it's like we're all getting hopeful or hyped or anything like that. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, which is a good thing.
Damn straight. All right, well, what we might do, we might jump into sounding off on some of the shit that's been released this week, officially by Bungie, and then after that, we'll talk to Matt about the summit and his preparation for it, which is turning into basically.
You better
we're gonna need to make a montage of Matt doing up Word documents.
Oh yeah, the best thing about my week is having triple the amount of viewers doing Microsoft Word.
Need that crispy 1080p 4K 60 or 120 FPS. 4K 120 FPS fucking Word gameplay. Feels good.
Bring back
Clippy. Top of the directory in Microsoft Word, baby.
Yeah, owning it. It's your space, Matt. Do it. All right, here's the music.
I'm not
Good
hearing
job. All right, well. The first piece of news we had released this week was the official roadmap. As Deej promised, he got it out, and God bless his cotton socks for doing so, because it gives us a hell of a lot to talk about. Now, we're familiar with everything that's in the Go Fast update, so I'm going to let that slide. I'm going to concentrate on what comes with the Warmind and thereafter. But I think there is a lot of exciting stuff in the very, very near future. So May 8th, the War Mind update 1.2.0, we're going to see seasonable Crucible rankings, private matches, increased vault space, the multi-emote wheel system, exotic weapon masterworks, seasonal vendor progression, exotic weapon sandbox changes, heroic strike modifiers, and Nightfall challenge cards. Right, so of those, boys, which are you most interested in or excited about?
Exotic weapon sandbox changes.
I think that is probably going to be most people's response, beyond like the hardcore PvP community and the seasonal Crucible rankings. I'm interested to see what that's all about and how they implement it. But more than anything,
I want feeling.
Yes.
I want the fear of missing out feeling.
Yep.
I don't feel like in Destiny 2 I'm like, Danny, fuck, we're not going out dinner. I need to get on. People want to get on and raid. I need to grind, or I need to do this. Like, I want this gun ASAP. I can't do the dishes. Okay? Look, get off my back. I need to grind.
I can't do the dishes because Destiny. It's not that I can't do the dishes because I'm fucking lazy, Matthew.
yeah, exactly.
You want Destiny to ruin your life again, basically. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. I can relate.
You know, I just remember like Touch and Malice. You know, when the things like that started coming out, I was like, look, if I'm not on with clans on, once people start getting this shit done, I'm going to get left behind. I'm not going to be able to complete this. It was the same with Outbreak Prime.
Yep.
You know, that one especially was fucking, if you missed the boat on that one, that was tough to get back because you needed like Warlock and a Hunter and a Titan, like the very end steps where you needed them to have
to be at the same point.
The completed card thing or whatever it was that you needed to do together to like solve Raspin's fucking equation. I don't know. So I would love that feeling where it's just like, dude, this is going to be so helpful for the raid, or this is going to be so helpful for XYZ, or I think that's part of the issue too. There's not really, I can't think of aspects in the raid that require something really special. You know, in Kingsfall there was so many different like modes that, you know, Touch and Malice just became this uber powerful weapon that could be used to solve it. And Galahorn was the same. We had Galahorn with like Vault of Glass essentially, and we had Touch and Malice with King's Fall. I don't think we had anything particular for Crota. I think that was just Galahorn again.
Well, Red Death was the must-have for Crota. Just get your health back.
Red Death. Yeah, Red Death. Yeah, to get the health. So there's always like these mechanics in the raid that like inspired people to sort of get a weapon to keep going on. And I haven't had that feeling in Destiny 2.
Well, I mean, it's semi sort of came back with, was it 2 updates ago and 1 update ago when they implemented the ghost that gives you a chance to get an exotic from the non-gotten exotic loot pool, which is always a step. Like I said, it's a step in the right direction. I like this. These are the words that you'll hear around the Destiny community a lot over the next couple of months. It's a step in the right direction.
It's pretty much the Destiny community's tagline.
Yeah. 1.2.0 has some really incredible things in it. However, I think a lot of people are waiting out for September. I know we're sort of getting a bit of ahead of ourselves at the moment, but if you reference the roadmap from April 11th, gear collections, records, weapon slot changes, and weapon randomization, I think that's what a lot of people are hanging out for. Yep. So hopefully in regards to 1.2.0, there's going to be a fair amount of people who are like, hey, this is a good update. This is a good update, and we are, you know, it looks good, and I'm excited for it. But you know, it is what it is.
I'm hopeful of that as well, Sloth. And I think you touched on a pretty important point too. They've got to be doing enough and be seen to be doing enough to begin to get people to drop that wall of kind of reserved. I don't know if I even want to bother. You know, that kind of thing. Like we've all in. You know, basically over the last week gone, you know, let's jump back in again and see what's going on. I mean, we also have the podcast and we want to be able to keep ourselves current and talk about it. But this was a bit more than that. It was just basically the 3 of us jumping in and having a laugh and playing a game. I think each one of these points that they hit is going to need to incentivize rolling back into the game. And it'll, you know, they kind of target different people. I mean, the Go Fast update, it's pretty good. You know, it's changed a lot of things. You know, PvP is faster, things like that. But on the whole, it's not really, there's no huge paradigm shift. I'm hoping that a combination of the content that is the Warmind DLC and the changes that are coming along with it will really kind of, that's another step, another, a little bit more momentum gained by the snowball of returning Destiny to what it was. So it's there is like realistically there is not going to be a moment where Destiny goes, guess what, we're fucking great again. It's like it's just going to be incrementally waiting for it and gaining momentum. So that's kind of if I can see a positive in everything that comes from now on in, I'll be happy. We've got to attenuate our expectations somewhat. But I do agree with Sloth, and I do understand the people that are basically going to wait it out until September to jump back in and check out sort of those big ticket items, which. Just for the sake of clarity, if anyone's listening to this and being like, where the fuck are weapon modifications? They are basically, they've been pushed back to the kind of weapon slot changes and weapon randomization. They come under that. They are part of that. They're not explicitly stated on the September update, but it is in the article if you read down. So just if you just read the bullet points like what I did and went, what the fuck? That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is, I know why they do it, but it would be interesting for them to let people know when they start these conversations, because I think a lot of people see this and like, oh, like it's taken them 9 months to get around to talk about weapon randomization, but in reality, like I'm sure the point when they decided to make those changes was way before September. That's when it's been released. But when you scan these like development roadmaps, you're like, oh, okay, we're getting weapon randomization in September. Great. It took them like a year to put random weapon roll like perks on there. So it's still like has that aspect of feeling really slow paced and not keeping up with sort of community feedback. And I think that's probably a fair criticism, but I don't know how their communication could improve to be like, hey, we've been working on this a long time. Maybe we've been having different issues with, hey, Danny, welcome to the
podcast. Yeah. Pro as
the look you guys can't see it for the overlay, but the look on her face when she shut the door was just like
Great.
You know what? The most important aspect of the podcast is that we make our loved ones suffer. So, good job, Matt.
Yeah, they put up with us. Anyway, I think it's going to be a year. Okay, September. Destiny 2 released September last year, so it will have been a year, and people were talking about there's nothing to chase. There's no loot to chase. Everything's reskins. There's no customization. So it has taken a year to make that change. But I'm sure it's obviously been worked on much earlier in the development cycle. So I don't know if that could ever be clearer in communication. I understand why you wouldn't do it because you can't put bullet points like, hey, we had a meeting about weapon rolls.
Cool.
And we've decided to start implementing that. Because then you get criticized. Well, why is it taking so long? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I think the realistic thing about that is it is a fucking huge undertaking, eh? And if anything is going to go wrong, it is that. Like if they fuck that up, because when you think about what happens with that update, they've kind of got to jump from the current system to the new system, and they've got to manage where all of the weapons as they currently stand sit, and then where like there's so much kind of could go wrong, or like could piss people off. It has to jump, everything. And it has to do it in one go, and it has to do it right. And I know people are like, oh, they could just stagger it, but not really. When you think that they're also looking at weapon slots, and they're looking towards. I mean, they're heavily indicating that they're going back to something far more Destiny 1 than it is now, which is encouraging. But like, if they're going to have to basically do that all at once with every piece of every weapon you've got right now, and they're going to need to know where they sit. It's just I think it's one of those things that, like, yeah, it's bullshit that it's taken them a year, but at the same time, I can understand how.
Yeah, same. But you know what? This is the other alternative, though. Let's imagine this. Let's imagine that it's like, you know what? All right, we're just gonna put random weapons in. We're just gonna chuck it all in and just gonna make sure it works and see what happens. And of course, you're gonna get, this is OP, this is too powerful. It'd be interesting if that was a response, and that's very Destiny 1, nerf and buff.
Yeah, exactly.
But to be honest, it would be much more responsive, and it would definitely sort of get rid of people saying, "Oh, you keep saying you listen, you're not doing anything." But I imagine it's just more systemic things. Like, it's too hard for them to just implement that because it changes their whole system. And obviously they want to change weapon slots too. So that's adds an extra layer of complexity. Now that everything might have random rolls on it or whatever they're doing for the weapon randomization.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much complexity to it. It's just so much of a, I'm happy that they're talking about it. I'm happy that they're open with it, but it is what it is. It is, we're going to have to wait for it to happen and see how it unfolds. The part of it that I'm kind of concerned about is that Destiny 2 from the ground up was sort of made so that they could finally tweak weapon type, specific weapons and things like that. And I am really hoping that ability doesn't go out the window with all of the changes that are coming. Because the Destiny 1 system was sort of basically going through and, rebalancing things and then realizing what was out of whack, and then rebalancing things and then realizing what was out of whack. It was always something made too powerful by the changes that were made, right?
But
so
this
I hope
is
that we don't get back to that. I think that's always going to be the case. I just think we need to accept it to some extent.
This is the case of Destiny and Destiny 2 are a pseudo or a faux MMO. They are. It is an FPS MMO-esque type situation. Yeah. MMOs, you are always adjusting. You're always adjusting every time.
I agree.
It's even if they do go back to that sort of way, I'm okay with that. The meta will always change. The meta will always change. One time it's hand cannons, next time it's pulse rifles. At the moment it's vigilance ring and all that sort of thing. I'm actually not. I'm not too fussed on whether it goes back to that or not. Honestly, I think it was a good system. It was a little reactive, sure. It was a lot reactive, but it was a system that semi worked to a degree.
I agree, but
unless you count the Wormwood situation, then Wormwood can go kiss the blackest part of my white ass. But you know exactly what I mean. Can I just say, I'm looking at the 12. I downloaded the Warmind DLC wallpaper. Holy fucking shit!
Yeah, I had an artistic erection when I looked at it. It was pretty good.
It looks like that whatever that is, a replication chamber or something else. Something else is just giving everyone the finger. It's just
leave a replication chamber, man.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about the thing that you put a tweet about? At about half an hour ago. It just occurred to me. Sorry, Slothy, I don't mean to.
I don't know. I started seeing videos about 7 hours ago pop up about a leak, a GameSpot leak description. Look,
fucking Christ!
It's there's way too much information in it. It's Rasputin is put into an exo body and teams up with Anna Bray, and it's just pretty much someone watched a couple old Myelin game and my name is Bife's lore videos. I thought that's a fucking good theory. We'll put that into a GameSpot description, and that's what it ended up being about.
Photoshop's a hell of a fucking thing. People can just go, "Oh my god!" It's listen, relax, wait for the reveal trailer. All right.
Yeah.
Relax.
I don't think it's probably not far off, to be honest. Here it is. Destiny 2 Expansion 2. Warmind deploys your Guardian on an urgent mission to Mars with an all-new story campaign, destination, new adventures. Following the events of Expansion 1, Ghost of Osiris, Charlemagne has been mysteriously reactivated on Io and is simulating Exo across the system into a new army of war machines. Trapped in a physical body by Charlemagne, Rasputin has been rescued by Anna Bray, and the last of the Bray family. Work with the duo to breach into the Exo network and stop Charlemagne before he marches upon the Traveller.
Good job. Like, I mean, if it is bullshit, good job.
I know that, but yeah, I agree.
Great story. Great story.
Yeah, I know that's what my tweet was like. Whoever made that, whoever wrote that, you should make a lore channel because you make good theories. Do you know?
Write comic books. That'd be fucking killer.
Yeah.
Get a job right.
So,
write comic books, get a job at Bungie, fix their comic book shenanigans, all right?
And this bit here, right? Explore Site 8 on Mars and defend against an army of corrupted Crypt Exo as you fight to confront Charlemagne within the Exo subnet. Like,
new enemy type.
I don't imagine a description using the word Exo subnet. Subnet is a very, very specific word in the Grimoire cards that is like a protocol to do with Rasputin and AI, and like, why put that in a GameStop description?
Oh shit! I just had that sinking feeling, and Et's in the stream just kind of brought it back to me. Maybe it's just a really poorly written thing because we've seen a bit of that. I don't know. There's got to be mistakes in it. Somewhere,
Look, I don't think it's far off. I do think Charlemagne will make an appearance. It is one of the. It was rumored as a Warmind of Mars. It doesn't surprise me that Destiny is still repatching, rehashing, retelling original storylines that were sort of hatcheted apart and reintroducing. Like, this is not sort of out of the ordinary with how they repiece the story back together. If anything expanded on the Exos, it will be the Deepstone Crypt. Anna Bray was mentioned in that room in the new tower. And she's linked to the Warmind, so that's all sort of checks out. So, it has all the elements, I think, of a DLC too, but I think it's a little bit too much information for a legit.
Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. And you know what?
We're going to find out soon
writing
enough.
it. Well done on writing it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if it is found to be bullshit, the person who made it makes contact with us, and we can just give them personally a congratulations on some top tier bullshit, because we all know that throwing a cat amongst the pigeons is something that we wholeheartedly support on this podcast. But Slothy, what else was in the TWAB? What else was captured in this Friday, if you're Australian?
So they're talking about ultimate power. So they're talking about changing the damage scaling versus higher level combatants. Now, the example that they used is, if you remember, in the beta of Destiny 1, I know I'm really, really trying to, trigger a lot of people's memories here, but there you could go underneath the surface, go underground, and go have a look at a few hive that are under there, underneath the Forgotten Shore, and they had little question marks in their level box. So basically, that means that they are 40 light level, power level, whatever you want to call it, higher than what you are. Now, they're changing that cap to 50, so like you can see them up to 50 light levels higher than you are. So if you want to go out there and do the Dark Souls thing and take on something that is, 45 levels higher than you, that will smack you down with a bitch slap to the back of your face, then you can go and do that. But they are changing that. I personally, that's a decent, that's a change. Is it a decent change?
I don't know. Is it even a necessary change? Like, who's there?
Is it?
Really?
Yeah, it's
like everyone's already at endgame. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, who are they aiming that? They're also changing combatant energy shields to fulfill the following: matching elements energy damage to shields most effective, roughly 3 times damage plus current shield detonation, followed by non-matching 2 times, and then so forth, so forth, and so forth. Who was this aimed at?
I love the idea that, you can go and explore this world and there'll be this, this mini boss blockading a treasure that you can't get past. And, that's what the, not the adventures, the Lost Sectors. The Lost Sectors should have been that.
Yeah.
And I tuned into a little bit of Goth stream, and he had like called it a town hall. He was taking feedback and doing polls to take to the summit, and mentioning how the blue gear is so redundant. You just level so quick that all your early gear just goes out the window before you know it. And, it would be so cool to like have that trickle, like grinding feel, that Dark Soulsy feeling, knowing that I know when I get to this level, I might just be able to like knock these guys out if I play it super safe, and then you eventually get some more gear. Then you go, oh yeah, I can definitely go in there now. And then like, oh, it's still pretty tough. And then eventually it's like, yeah, just fucking wipe them, and then I get to see what treasures at the end. I think that is such a cool thing, especially in the Destiny world. I think they have such unique environments that they could create these little dungeons with cool bosses in them. That would be so cool to explore. But
so
as you say, at the moment, everyone's endgame. So like, I don't understand.
So the general gist of, if I'm understanding what you're putting down, is the general gist of it is everyone's at 335 light. They put these enemies at 372 light, and then a team of 3 has to take them out in a lost sector.
I hope that'd be great, but do you think they'll put them that far ahead? Like, I don't know. It doesn't.
I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Maybe they'll have public events. So people in the chat are saying that they want to see wolves are prowling, or like blades of Crota, so the celebrant of Oryx and all that sort of thing. So I mean, that would be cool. But like, who knows? Who knows? I mean, we shall see.
Honestly, just having a little bit of a final say on that. As it stands, the progression of light levels is not slow enough for that to be important for more than about 2 hours. Like, realistically, even if the new DLC drops and the light level is fucking 400, who knows what it's going to be? It's probably going to be 360. That's my stab anyway. Full circle, 360. I think that, like, so what? It's not redundant. It's ultimately redundant already because we're all 330 plus, really. Except Matt's character on Xbox that he's looked at twice in 6 months. And even it's at fucking 300. So it's, like, I don't know. It seems, maybe it matters to someone. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and it really matters to you, reach out. I want to hear why. But for me, it just seems like work's gone into something that was ultimately, kind of redundant. But,
well, I hope this is a hint at, like, getting the ducks lined up for slowing down progression and bumping up the light levels and making gear feel powerful and making gear feel rewarding, because I think that's a big issue. It doesn't feel rewarding to, like, to go up in power level. The only thing that feels rewarding is like probably getting all your gear to 335. That feels rewarding, but there's not like this increment, like, yes, gone up a little bit. Yes, got a little bit more, and I can do something with that.
Yeah. So the other thing when we talk, like the chat's talking about the raid and all that sort of thing. You know what? Let's get away from the Leviathan.
Not gonna happen.
We've got one more little slot there to fill before we get away from the Leviathan.
I know that that's the case, but I'm so fucking sick of fighting Cabal. I want to fight fucking frames from Charlemagne's vault that are covered in Siva and death. I want to fight them.
I'm interested to see how they incorporate the Leviathan raid level DLC too.
I'm going to go out there and say it. I'm sick of gold. I'm sick of looking at gold. There's too much gold. I'm sick of the Cabal Casino. I want to go, but I don't think it's going to happen. And we have seen that they did with the, what was the other one called? The second one. I can't remember. I've gone totally blank, with Argos in it. That.
Yeah, the Eater
of
Worlds.
Eater of Worlds. I think that we can see. Hopefully, they're smart enough to make it a departure like that is at the end. Like that. That is not a. It's a different sort of scape. I guess it's probably.
Yeah, I can't see an obvious lore connection between Rasputin on Mars.
Mate, you know this. One sentence. One sentence is all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. One sentence. That's an interesting point from the chat as well. Jets, thank you. Imagine if on the surface of Titan is pretty safe underneath in the arcology, it gets hard as F and is filled with endgame level enemies and unique threats. I wouldn't be that wouldn't be too bad. However, I would even go as far to say maybe they could rework the Infinite Forest, because now that old matey Osiris is in charge, as we've heard on several occasions while grinding the Nightfall, maybe he could go, well, this is happening in the real life. Maybe you guys could do like do a little simulation of training, thereabouts, to get not to get your light level up, but just for that extra challenge. I'm not trying to say it from a lore perspective, but just try and learn yourself to, against the harder things. Yeah.
I distinctly, like, going back to the feelings of the beta, I distinctly remember going and seeing those like yellow bar enemies with the question marks, and the mystery of where does that lead, where does that go, what's down there. And I also just distinctly remember exploring the Hellmouth when they still had areas closed off in there, and thinking, wow, there's this hive species down here, and it's actually creepy down here, and there's these enemies roaming around that just one-shot you. I can't wait to explore this area. I can't wait to be underleveled and like see if I can sneak past some enemies and pick up some gear and discover some secrets down here. And I think that would be a cool way to make use of the assets they already have, like Titan, IO, and tunnel down and see what's there. That would be cool.
Yeah. So the last little bit of news per se that has come out of Bungie is they are delaying. Last week they discovered a late-breaking bug. With upcoming 6v6 Iron Banner, but decided to postpone. Basically, the general gist of it is Iron Banner, 10 a.m. PST, April 17th, or 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. 6v6 Iron Banner. I'm excited. You excited? I'm excited. 6v6 is good fun, Yeah,
I actually feel like playing it. I feel like playing it. I honestly feel like playing it. I will jump into that.
I feel like playing it to a degree. Like, I will play it until I feel like I have just gotten to the point where I'm just like, PvP. It doesn't take me long to get there either. Honestly, it really doesn't, because the PvP in Destiny 2 it doesn't feel right. It feels like if you're in your house at 4 o'clock in the morning, lights off, you wake up and you feel like someone is fucking watching you, and you feel iffy. You feel I don't know. You feel uneasy. PvP in Destiny 2 makes me feel uneasy. It might be better on PC. I don't know. I'm planning to get it on PC, but it makes me feel uneasy. I'm not a fan of it, so I'll give it a crack. Probably not on stream or anything, but maybe on log stream on Thursday when we all get together again. But who fucking knows? Who knows?
Righto.
Who knows?
All right. Well, Matt, do you want to take us through the 400,000 cubic tons of paperwork that you've received this week?
Yes. If you have not done this Destiny lore survey and you would like to do the Destiny lore survey, it will be open for another hour, because after this I am going to go and find meaning in 4,959 responses we've had so far to 16 open-ended questions. Some people have apologized for the number of questions. Their responses, to be honest. They've said, I apologize in advance for writing like 4 pages for one question, because I put no character limit on like any questions, so people could like paste entire sentences, like entire paragraphs in there, and some people have, which is great. To be honest, I do not regret not putting a character limit on it, because a lot of people have just said like, the many people were just like, it's so like, just it's therapeutic.
Yeah,
I actually get
it's cathartic, just putting it all out there.
Yeah, like just and not like I think giving feedback on YouTube comments and Twitter and just has so and Reddit just has so much emotion attached to it. And it's all about like responding to someone. Like, so if you leave a comment on YouTube video, you're responding to that content creator, and you're either saying I agree with you or I don't agree with what you said, and this is why, and this is all the things right. And it's the same with Twitter. When you ask someone to do a survey for themselves and you put them into neutral questions, people have to reflect back on themselves. They can't use other people's ideas to spin off. Everything has to come from you. So people have found it like really, cathartic, and therapeutic to be like, oh, like why do I like Destiny 2? What are the things I actually, without someone like influencing me and adding bias to that, like what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? And why? Why does that happen? Why do I feel this attachment to these characters? So a lot of people have just been grateful for that, and I actually think it's done a ton of good just having that. And I think I hope Bungie like it. I hope they don't take offense by it. I hope they don't think I've gone overboard with it, but the community has responded really well to it. I'm very happy with the results in regards to me processing them. To be honest, I didn't expect the survey to get past 1,000. I was going to be really happy with 1,000 responses. So it's about 5 times that at the moment. And
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 5,000 responses.
Bloody hell. That's awesome, man. That is
I mean, the cool thing is, right, and this is what I put it on, is, Gathalion is probably Gathalion and Lupo are probably the biggest content creators going to the summit. And Dr. Lupo not that I know of, hasn't really done like, a Destiny stream to get feedback. But I know Gathalion was doing that and was doing, polls and stuff. So, and he had about 6,000 people in there watching. So, he has potentially data from 6,000 people. And he was covering the things like randomization and what makes, loot rewarding and all those things that more mechanical things you want to have a talk about. To have, a response of 5,000 really puts it up there with some of the big boys with, data, so to speak, and community feedback. And by standard research terms, if this was in any research paper in the world, it would become gospel, because you do not get data from 5,000 people. Do you know, like for what we were talking about, research terms, if you're talking about qualitative data, 100 people would probably be like a world-class survey, right? 100 people is a good number to deal with. 5,000 people in a survey qualitative data is fucking loopy, because it gets to a point where, to be honest, it's overkill, because you can't process that much information very well. So, it's up there. So I'm very happy with the results, and they exported perfectly, to my surprise, first time into an Excel spreadsheet. And then the Excel spreadsheet went straight into my qualitative analysis program, and it analyzed every question by question without me fiddling around with it. So there's some easy analysis there where I just press a button and it does all the work for me, which is really nice.
Planets have aligned. Now, Matt, the one thing that you posted through the week that was pretty, I don't know, I found it like, yeah, that's basically my response in a nutshell, was the pictographic thing where, I don't know, the amount of, well, how did that work, the picture that you posted?
Yeah, so this is great, right? So. I mean, I know people really don't find research very exciting, but I find this exciting. This is sort of like, a lot of people probably don't understand qualitative research. So there's 2 general types of research: quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative is like, hey, I give Sloth a sleeping pill, and how many hours does he sleep for? Yep. And we do that
2.
for a week, right? And we do that for a week, and then we change the medication. Then we see how many hours he sleeps for, right? It's like numbers, and it's very easily measured. And qualitative is like, hey, Sloth, how did you think that sleep went? Tell me about your sleep. What dreams did you have, right? So it's more like people commenting on stuff and their experiences, which is really important. That's what we're asking about Destiny. What's your experience with Destiny? So the way that you sort that data is one really easy way to sort of get going is to look for common words. So you just ask the program to find the most commonly said word. And And then from that most commonly said word, you go off and pick a random sample and you read what they say about it. So the first question was really easy because it wasn't really open-ended. It was, what plot line do you think had the best conclusion? And so you ask the program, find the top 1,000 words said that answered that question. And the top word was king or taken. Or the second top word was taken. And so out of 5,000 responses, the most common word or common two words was taken king, right? And the next question is why? Okay, so let's see in the responses for why, what was the most common word? The most common word was raid. You're like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why people were saying raid. So then you open up all the survey questions that said the word raid and you start reading their paragraphs and see if you can make sense of it. And I read about 30, 40, 50 of those, and they're all saying the same thing. The campaign from Taken King continued into the raid, and then we killed Oryx in the raid, and that gave conclusion, right? So you're like, all right, well, that's the thing. We just basically analyzed 5,000 surveys essentially to the best that we can. Is that people like the Taken King. They like the conclusion that because we had a villain that was extended from the campaign into the raid. We killed him in the raid. We saw his body fly off in a Saturn, which was actually mentioned like multiple times. We were like, it was really cool to see him die and fly off in a Saturn. Like it was. That's important. That's showing the death of a villain is a conclusion, right? It finishes the story. And then
it closes that chapter. I wouldn't go as far to say that it finishes the story, but it closes that chapter.
Yeah, that's it. And this is why it's really tricky because a lot of people want a little bit of mystery, and we do want the possibility. Everyone wants a twist. Everyone wants a possibility of something else happening. You know, is Oryx really dead? And the twist for Oryx was Touch of Malice. Then came up. Is Oryx still alive? We just saw him dead. So now you got this juxtaposition of seeing a character die and beating him, and then maybe he's not dead, etc. So that was really cool to see, and it was really cool to see that data and go, well, let's apply that to Destiny 2 now. Now, I agree that raid layers were needed and that DLCs need raid, but they completely disrupt conclusions because in the Leviathan, Callus's story is very separate. It's not separate, but it's very parallel to Gaul. It wasn't like we killed Gaul and he went into the raid and we killed him in the raid. Like, they were essentially different parallel storylines where Callus was exiled by Gaul, and the next time we see him is in the Leviathan. So there wasn't as much continuity between campaign and raid. And one of the things we can probably say from that data is people found him Taken King. They felt conclusion because the raid, continued the campaign. Now with adding raid layers, like let's say Eater of Worlds. Well, Curse of Osiris was not to do with that Vex submind in Nessus. And everyone's like, where did that thing come from? Why did Nessus get sucked up? Is Nessus destroyed? Like, and it was that lack of continuity between Curse of Osiris and Eater of Worlds that once again didn't feel like it had a conclusion. So like, for example, why didn't Panaptes, the final boss, how about this, right? Why didn't Panaptes, the final boss of Curse of Osiris, get sucked up by the Leviathan? That at least would have, like, why didn't we see the Leviathan come in, suck a big chunk off Nessus or something and fight Panaptes on Nessus, and then all of a sudden, bam, we go into Eater of Worlds. There's like a link. It's like linking your last sentence of your paragraph to the next sentence. Right? So,
It wasn't Panoptes, weren't we fighting Panoptes in the fucking...
Yeah, in the Mercury or whatever, future Mercury.
I was. Do you mean Argos?
No, I'm talking about the campaign boss.
I think you were both highlighting very clearly one of the things that storyline struggled from, in that it was fucking incredibly hard to follow. Like the future, the past, all that sort of stuff. While it's cool, it makes it really fucking confusing and very murky, where you look at sort of the only part of that Taken King storyline that was really kind of ambiguous was, hang on, who the fuck's Era's working for and where's that all about? Because, you go into the story, you kind of kill Oryx, and then he's back on the Dreadnought. right? He's back
Yep.
in the raid, and you face him again, and then you send him floating off into space. So I don't know. I mean, I can see where they were trying to go with it and why they were keeping the raid narrative separate from the story narrative, but
Yep.
it does hurt it in the investment
Yeah.
stakes. It really punches you in the guts.
Yeah, and I think they can get away with it because no one's going to be upset with more raid content. But I think to make Destiny a great game, to make it an excellent game, to make it better than excellent, I think there should be some consideration of the raid, like continuing the storytelling process, and that it is, and that for them to know that it's actually a really, really good way to give some sort of, for players to feel that there's been a conclusion of some sort. So
I think that's what sort of dragged me away from my immersion per se from the PvE side of the things, is that each of the raids in the previous iteration of Destiny had something to do with what was happening. So you're taking King led into blah, the Wrath of Machine Rise of Iron led into the Wrath of Machine. It actually led into it quite well. The base raid for Destiny 2, of course, it was a little bit of it was a little bit jarring to go from
that was
here's Gary, holy shit, he's Callus.
Yeah.
That was for me. That was a little bit jarring. And then then with the Eater of Worlds, that was also very fucking jarring because it like there was Panoptes, and then it was a Vex flavor to a Cabal ice cream.
I still don't understand how that fucking happened. I don't understand why the
Well, if
Vex
you don't, how
core,
the fuck's anyone else going to?
I don't understand how the Vex core from Nessus is inside the Leviathan when Nessus is still there.
It really, as far as I'm concerned, they have sort of taken a very large step back in their storytelling ability.
With the raids, I think.
With the raids, because, well, I mean, the continuity, yeah, exactly. Like you've got like Wrath of the Machine was probably one of my most favorite raids in D1. Don't know why, just was. But it had a specific, it had a very definitive beginning, middle, and end. Like you were there to stop the source of Siva had been halted, but the motherfuckers, the motherfucker Fallen still being cheeky and trying to fucking rebuild things. Axis was kicking around being a cheeky shit, so you had to go in there and give him the old elbow under the chin. You know, like that was something that I really did enjoy, and it was actually tied in somewhat to the story. Panoptes, Panoptes is his big bad. All right, cool. And and he's Argos as well. What?
Yeah. It's right. It's true, right? And
like,
you know what?
It was jarring as hell. Like you guys, anybody who has been in my community or been in Matt's or Log's channels or watched the podcast, I'm not a smart man. I wanted to be somewhat spoon-fed to me. I didn't even know the law was a thing until I got involved with fucking Myelin. And, you know, like, but it's like, it's got to have some sort of tie into it. Yeah. Like the Leviathan it's just there. And it's this thing that doesn't really sort of fit in the universe or of the deal. Sorry, it doesn't fit to the DLC stories.
My hope for the upcoming DLC is that, given it's it involves the war mines, right? It's heavily, it's that's what it's all about. It's called fucking war mines, right? So my hope is that there is a strong sort of flow on from the story of, whatever happens, culminating in the end of the actual campaign, is that, maybe we've got someone on our side, be it one of the war mines that has been fully reawoken or whatever, that is with us, and we've got the ability to use them and have them support us and take out the Leviathan, and then it's done and it's conclusive and it feeds through. That is I've been thinking about this, and that's kind of where I hope it goes. It may well not. It may well not have. But that even if in the original D2 story, you knew, guess what? Here's Gary, and his big brother Callus is coming to fuck you up. If you pick on him, this dude's going to turn up in his big ship and fuck you up. But there's two tangential stories. Like, they're enemies, too, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like, I really do think Callus is a fucking amazing villain.
Yeah.
People don't realize that Callus is on the same level as Oryx as a villain. And people don't know that because he wasn't introduced during the campaign. And, you know, to be honest, if I did that with Callus and Gaul, it would have been very similar to Crota and Oryx, right? You kill the little boy and the big boy comes along. Like, but I'm okay with that. Like, I think that's fine. Callus does have a unique story. Like, you know, they do have a really complex relationship. Callus should have made an appearance in the campaign. It should have finished on a cutscene or something. Little clues drip fed, and eventually, like, guess what? Like, yeah, you killed this leader, but Callus wants his army back, and he's coming, boy.
That's the thing. Like, if you didn't buy the limited edition or the big top of the table fucking edition to Destiny 2, I didn't even know what fucking Callus was until the raid was announced.
It's that hard shit you get on your hands from working really hard, man. A Callus. That's all.
Shut the fuck up. But, like, I would like at the end of the story, I would have liked it, the D2 story. I know we're going back here and we're discussing shit that we've discussed to death, but I would have loved to see, like, you had to go to the Almighty to take on Gary and finish him from being a fucking pain in the penis. You know, like, you've knocked the spider off the Traveler. You've got to go to the Almighty to stop him from blowing up the solar system. And then he gets this word from his spies that Callus is coming.
Yeah.
He gets his word from his spies, so he's gone off like a shot going to take on Callus. And we have to fight Console. See, that would have been a fucking great end to D2, and, like, to stop the Almighty, to stop Console, then the raid to find Callus, and then a subsequent raid on top of that as an overarching story is Callus is here, you've killed Gary, he's interested in you, he's going to put you through some challenges. There's a subsequent raid. Like, the overarching, he's like, if you don't pass this, my big frog ship's going to go fucking numb on your fucking planet. Like, I would have loved to see that.
My whale shark's coming to get you.
Well, look, I mean, and this is exactly what I'm hoping to achieve with the summit. Is I present results like this. I go, hey, did you know that everyone loved the Taken King because of the continuity into the raid? Let's discuss this. Let's discuss the future of Destiny, and let's see what your thoughts are on making sure this occurs in future releases.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what that response will be. I don't know if the other content creators, you know, how they're going to respond either. And, you know, the great thing is, at the end of the day, I'm not making it up. At the end of the day, I've asked the question. And I think that takes a bit of pressure off me. It's not just my opinion. Like, you know, I've got some...
Yeah, you're the voice of it. Like, you brought it all together, but it's 5,000 other people's opinion.
And you know what the really frustrating thing, though, is, Myelin, is that you've gone ahead and done this and putting all this work with your quality of resources and all that sort of thing, words that I don't understand because I'm as thick as two short planks. But a lot of other content creators have just done a Q&A, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm not doing anything like that. A lot of other content creators have just asked the question in a singular stream. That's it.
Oh, I mean, everyone operates to their level of sort of resources too. This exactly. When you look at the way Matt's approached this as you know, he knows what he's doing because it's what he's doing at uni, effectively. You know, to some degree. Yeah. So there's the ability to be able to pull it off.
This is where Bungie would really benefit from. You know, I think this is testing the waters with how to approach this topic, because I don't think they really open the doors like this. And I think this is a real test the waters to see how something like this goes. You know, I would have really loved if they did have someone, and maybe they do, but, you know, this is if someone with a research background that wanted to do this, to put this together. You know, you invite your content creators a lot earlier than a week. You set up an agenda. You come to a consensus on all the topics you're going to talk about, because then people come prepared. right? Imagine if all the content creators got sent a list of topics, they would take that to their community, and you would have the pulling power of the most fucking amazing data you'd ever seen to work out through some of these things. So, to run like proper focus groups is a lot of work and a lot of preparation just for developing a discussion guide, right? So when I develop a discussion guide for individuals with autism and their parents to talk about disability and to talk about what they want to see in a service provided by occupational therapists, that has to go through so many revisions to make sure you ask questions in the right way. Because if you ask the question the wrong way, you don't get the right answer. So I think this is going to be testing the waters, and there's a little bit of fear that it's going to be a shit show. I'm hoping that something like this might show them that there is a process to getting feedback, and you can do a lot with feedback if you ask it right. And that would be the best thing for me to come from this. Like, even if there's a bit of a shit fight, because there's going to be a lot of passion in the room. There's going to be people that have spent all this time making this game. There's going to be people that are really upset with the game and how it is. And on top of that, everyone has big personalities. End of the day, when you invite the top streamers and top YouTube creators, everyone's going to have an opinion. So there's a big complexity with managing a group like that.
But you know what? If nothing else, Matt, you're going to have a Word file that you can present, or a database, and it's not going to be about Myelin Games gets on his soapbox. It's Myelin Games comes, gives the gift of knowledge, and departs.
I saw some funny gifs of that with fucking Spider-Man just dumping a whole stack of papers. Someone was like,
we need to think up a name for the document, a Destiny themed name for the document. That is Grimoire 2.0.
Just put it the Books of Sorrow 2.0.
This. Oi, what about Galliforms? The greatest weapon.
The big like and that's you've touched on a big point there, Matt. Is that I hope that a lot of people, these massive personalities, aren't just going there for a social occasion. I hope they're actually going there.
They're not. I don't think so. Sorry to cut you off, Sloth, but this was something I was going to address as well. Like on Twitter, like people were, umming and ahhing. Is it just a PR thing? Is it this, that, and the other? And I can 100% confidently say that everyone going doesn't give two shits about capturing footage or promoting their channel. They are 100% there to provide feedback to Bungie.
I sincerely hope so, but I mean, as like to just look into the real world here for a second, people who go to these events, and this isn't a stab at you or anyone who is going, but they've always got that fucking thought in the back of their brain: how is this going to affect my channel? So like,
yeah, but that's human. That's a business thing.
No. I know it's a human business thing, but I just hope that people actually remember why they're fucking there. It's not a social occasion. Well, it might be. It might be a slightly network, slightly social. But if you are there to give feedback to Bungie, give feedback to Bungie. I know, like, a lot of the big content creators, even all of the big content creators, I mean, they're probably looking at me, who's this real-time sloth dude? I don't fucking care. But for the good of the game, please, I am fucking begging you. You don't have to put in as much work as fucking Matt up here. This is what he does. This is what he does.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in the group going and the reasons why they're there. It still doesn't change the fact that running a focus group that is with those personalities, and they're good personalities, but like they better have a fucking plan to manage. Like, give us feedback about our game from 20 people that are used to talking in front of thousands of people every day, and are very confident. You can't get that many people in a room that have, those personalities to be entertainers and not expect a fucking Bang! Not expect an explosion.
But this is the caliber of people that they've invited. So I'm just thinking of the people that I actually find as really good content creators. Goth, Broman, yourself,
yep,
Lulu, Datto,
yep,
Sniperton. These are the people that care for the game, care for where the game is going. So that is what, five people that are there to do what they do, you know. So
I think everyone's been. I think everyone will be very civil. I hope people don't take this wrong. I think everyone is going to be very civil, but you know, it's just the thing when you run a group with like 20 people. It's harder than people expect.
Personalities clash, of course. I mean, that's just human nature.
Yeah, and not even big personalities. Like if I run a group, right? Look, if you run any focus group, and sorry for banging on about research, right? But if I run a focus group with 5 people, there'll be one person that says nothing. There'll be one person that keeps trying to change the agenda, and there'll be one person that keeps saying the same thing, right? Like statistically, that's probably what's going to happen as well. The one person doesn't, and you know, your job as a facilitator of a focus group is to ensure that everyone gets an opportunity to speak, that everyone gets to say their piece, that everyone gets to present their information, and that you cover all the topics that need to be covered to get the right data. It's hard.
Yeah, dude. And
we'll see.
That's the thing. That's the thing. They do need to have their ducks in a row for that. That is a big undertaking.
And you know, whatever I can reveal, I honestly, if it all goes to shit, you know, if I can talk about it, it'll be very sad, to be honest, because if it really goes bad, that will ripple through the community, and people will know that bad times are coming. And the community is so fractured already. If 20 of the people that you know, the community leaders come back and say it's no good, we're not happy, like that will have a big impact on the franchise, I think. So
well, I mean, we've said it once and we'll say it again, and a lot of people have said this regardless of size. If this DLC doesn't fucking wow, and I mean really shine, or the things that will come very shortly, i.e. like next season, the season after Warmind rather, people aren't going to pick up the DLC. They will take Destiny down off their shelf. They'll put it into a drawer and they won't think about it again, which is the really unfortunate thing about it.
Yeah. So I think it's not. I'm so nervous. It really has to be like the DLC does well, and I really think that they need to conduct a really good conversation with community leaders. They really, and I guess that's probably the point, right? I guess that's, and I'm hoping that I'm not giving them enough credit, and that they've got everything lined up right. Bang, guys, we're going to talk about. We got, you know, what, an 8-hour day? Probably not that. 6.5, 7-hour day with lunch. Yeah, we have 7 hours to talk about the future of Destiny. We're going to spend an hour and a half on PvP. We're going to spend an hour and a half on loot and reward. We're going to spend an hour and a half on raid. We're going to spend 10 minutes on lore. We're going to spend...
Well, they've already got the fucking database, man. They don't need the time.
you know what, Matt? The unfortunate thing about what you just said is actually probably going to be true. Because the way that they have gutted the lore is...
Let's not go into that again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
regardless.
All right, let's end on a high note, right? Let's end this on a high note. They're listening. Matt's got a fucking ripping piece of information, and the conversation we had 10 minutes ago sort of highlighted to me that they had all of the elements there that they needed to put a ripping story in place, and it just kind of didn't connect well enough. So if we can get that across, and they can sort of tighten the screws for the next, well, I don't know, foreseeable future, then I think we're in, you know, pretty good hands. You know, at the end of the day, we're all here because of something Bungie made, and we're all upset because of something Bungie made. So Bungie can fix it at some point. I've got faith in that. So, all right, boys. In closing, is there anything you want to say? Matt, safe travels. I'll say that on behalf of us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone who took the time to complete the survey. It will not be wasted. I appreciate all of the effort to complete it, and I appreciate the professionalism in completing it, because I have not, whilst there are some F's and fucks and shits in there, they're still very legitimate comments. Sloth is guilty. They're still legitimate comments. There's been no trolls as such, and that's a pretty good sign. So thank you.
Slothy?
Good luck, Matt.
Thanks.
Like, legitimately, good luck to Matt. Good luck to the content creators who are going. Please, for the love of Cthulhu, make Bungie see what we, as the community, want the game to be.
Yeah.
Don't buy into the unintelligible yelling. Really have a conversation with them, ladies and gentlemen, who are going. And, you don't have to put in the same amount of effort as this bullfed over here. Or this bullfed over here. Cameras are reversed, it's fine. But do the best that you can for the community, please and thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
And good luck. And good luck, Matt.
Good luck and
Safe
Godspeed.
travels, my friend.
Good luck and Godspeed, Matthew.
Godspeed.
This is like really fucking serious all of a sudden.
It
kind of
is serious. It is a very serious thing because a lot of people have very fond memories of Destiny, and like we've covered this on multiple occasions. Fond memories, relationships. Like, I'm not talking like friends and networking on broadcasting. I'm talking like proper goddamn relationships where people have actually gotten married. Two personal friends of Log and I, they've got married and met through Destiny. Like I think it means so much to so many people. It really does, and we take the piss.
Everyone realizes this is a big breaking point.
Yeah.
Everyone realizes if this next DLC is not well received, if the summit goes awfully, if Goth and Lupo come back and says, guys, fuck, Bungie didn't listen to us. It was just a PR stunt. It's over. Like, they need content creators to come back and go, we had a really good conversation. I have faith that they've listened to us and they're going to put stuff into place. And the DLC is okay. It's probably worth playing for a week. That's I reckon that's best case scenario.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up there, dudes. But I think, it'll be an interesting few weeks, if nothing else. And as I said before, Matt, just safe travels and say good day to everyone on behalf of a couple of idiots that you'll leave behind, and we'll be sad about it. But me and Sloth will hold the fort next week, and we'll figure out something to do. No doubt. All right. Well, may the law be with you, Matt. May the law be with you.
May the law be with you, and also with you.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Peace. I'll stole your thing. Ha ha.